and welcome to Agents of Aquarius.
Howdy, Jim Pine. How you doing?
Howdy. I'm doing hi, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? That was a
Did somebody
joke.
say hi?
Hi, how you doing? There was a comedian in 1977 that went out on the Richard Pryor show. There was a special that Richard Pryor produced where he put some comics out on it. And I can't think of the name of him right now. It's like Billy Smith or something like that. Billy Red Hawk or something like that. And he's an American Indian comic. And he says, and the joke was, uh, uh, what did the Indian say to the cowboy? He's like, hi, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? Hi, how you doing? It's fucking so stupid, bro.
All
He crossed with it.
right, that's some old comedy.
Yeah,
Open up with some old stuff from the old guys.
the old
But we
man.
got we got stuff to say.
Hey, we're here. We're the Agents of Aquarius. I'm Jim Pine.
Matty D coming
That's
at you. Hot Garage once again.
Hot Garage. In this incarnation still, the time of the Lion's Gate portal, the opening of the third eye, Blu-ray alignments. What's going on? Crazy world, bro. It's a
Yeah, buddy.
prismatic world. It's prismatic, dude. It's we're at the end of the summer, dude, the end of the season, the changing. Things are changing, dude. Things are always changing, bro. Always changing. And it's out there too, dude, for the agents.
Yeah? Yeah, what's out there for the agents? I
Hopefully
know change
help.
is coming.
Hopefully some
Hopefully help,
fucking
sure.
help, dude. How
Hmm.
about some help, dude? Is help on the way, bro? Anybody out there hearing this, please reach out and let me know. Is help on the way? Does anybody got a signal? Because I could use the fuck.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot more agents of the Matrix than there are agents of Aquarius. Most people are not too inclined to even think about deep shit, but maybe that's just one person's opinion.
I truly believe every day that the sun moves across the sky until it
Mm-hmm.
disappears, every day that that sun starts that journey, there's at least one new person has woken up. I do believe that. I don't know how many more went to sleep. I do believe it's at least one. So I don't know if it's equal balance right now. I have this feeling it's all the cliched stuff. It's darkest right before the light and all this.
Mm-hmm.
It's, but I think you also got to remember like the silver lining, bro. Like it does feel like the problem is a lot of people did bad shit and they're even wanting to repent, but they did it because they're like part of a big system. But it's happening, dude. People are waking up. I don't think people are going more to sleep. People are asleep, you know.
No, I think we're onto something. I think more people are waking up to how the world really runs. You get these little breakthrough points, like some people got into QAnon, but whether it was right or wrong, we're not going to get into that. But what did happen to people is that they started to question stuff that they thought or that they hadn't questioned before. Election interference is another one that got people to start thinking about things they hadn't thought before. Um, some people broke through the Cupid-19 spell and started to think about things the way they hadn't before. So yeah, man, people are waking up. And I don't want to fall back on like, these hot items like election interference and QAnon. You don't need that particular perspective to start opening up your mind a little bit. Anything can break through a person's conditioning so that they start thinking for themselves,
Yeah,
waking up.
yeah. I mean, uh, um, I, there's all these systems that have been implemented though in shadow, like not being overtly explained to why things are being done the way they're done.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what starts the spire of the conspiracy. It's that people in secret doing something, shady and possibly illegal,
Yeah, bro. I mean, powerful people meet up. They just do. That's what all these weird organizations are. The Council on Foreign Relations that formed up before the Second World War. That's a bunch of industrialists, government officials, bankers. They're people with power to affect society. They meet up. Later in like the early 70s, it was a group called itself the Trilateral Commission. They're still active. They're still busy and doing shit. And it's the same thing. It's a bunch of people with power who meet up. These people meet up and they talk and they make plans, and you can't record anything. There's no reporters in there. Our government officials, our presidents go and meet with these people, and they don't divulge what was discussed in these meetings. So, yeah, I agree with you 100% that absolutely things go on in the shadows. But it's also right out in the open. It's like what's in the shadows, what they talk about. But these people with power, they get together, and they get together multiple times a year, and they talk shit out. They figure out how to get more of what they have, money and power.
Wow. Seems
And bro, if
pretty.
you don't know these organizations, if you don't know what the Council on Foreign Relations is, if you don't know what the Trilateral Commission is, if you don't know that, people make fun of words like Bilderbergers, but guess what? That is rich and powerful people getting together. If you don't know this shit, you got to educate yourself, because it really affects your life, and it will affect your life down the line through the years, and it's going to affect your kids if you have them. Uh, it's big. It's big. These are the same people of money and power who own most of the media. They own the media, and they own the messaging that gets people to think the way they do about the world they live in. Try and see it my way. It's the name of my high horse, my friend. It's a true story.
So then it's like a goddamn, you know what this is? It's like a goddamn epic story. That's what this is. Like Lord of the Rings or any great epic, story.
Uh-huh.
And it's always about tyranny,
That's
oppression.
here. Yeah, that's in our
oppression.
story. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Just evil for evil's sake, presence. So often in these stories where people just are like psychopathic, like sociopathic.
Yeah, people in power often are.
Yeah, and then about it's the little one guy or the little one group coming together, knowing they're not gonna make it, but you still got to go do it because I'm going out anyway. Somehow, you're like, we're none of us walking out of here alive, and it's that idea that they still go on the journey to like maybe not chase the gold, but chase doing the right thing to return the ring, to return sovereignty or at least fight back against tyranny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they don't do it by like through harm or that's not the plan. It's not through like, oh, we have to do it. It's just to set things right. That's it. Stand up to it.
That would be the goal of a lot of good organizations, or even a movement. Say Occupy was a pretty cool movement. They wanted to set things right. They originally were, not organized, not in a structure. They were just a group of people with a like-minded thought. That was a pretty good movement.
Yeah, that was nice. And then the agent provocateurs entered. Then the dissent, and they brought
hard
dissent
drugs.
in. Yeah, it's like a whole
and violent crime.
Yeah, you just bring in bad players, and then you change the whole organization. And that's why I don't think it can be a group. It's got to be. Could you imagine it's a time where you just have to put the shovel down, and then you gotta now everything from this moment forward, you just stand up for what's right. You don't allow bullshit no more. There's just a moment where just everybody kind of like snapped out of a dreamlike state, and maybe not everyone, but only maybe the agents, people that would be interested in things like this podcast would be like, people would just snap out and be like, I'm not putting up with bullshit no more. I'm not doing that anymore. That's silly. Like you're asking me to do silly shit just to see if I'll comply. And you're doing it all in the betterment of of good for everyone, even though we just saw a 45% rise in unexplained, like unattributed deaths in the ages of 0 to 12 or 24-year olds in America. We just saw that stat just came out. It's
Mm-hmm.
and they just go, "Oh, we don't know why." Yeah, no idea. Huh? It wasn't the
Yeah,
one
they can't
thing.
speculate anything. Was there anything new that was introduced to our society in the last couple of years?
Oh
Anything
man.
introduced on a mass scale?
Oh, I don't know. That's where we're at. And then people don't even nobody's talking. Like I just mentioned this. You know what I'm actually talking about because
I
you
know what
see
you're
this.
talking about.
But
Yeah,
so many just wouldn't even like why isn't that interesting? Like I thought one was too many. One was too many.
it was.
Now it's 44%. I think it was more like 47, but whatever it is, percent increase in unexplained mortality in 0 to 24-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. It's a big jump. If it was in any other circumstance, it would have been a crisis. But the only logical conclusion you could make of why that happens, I guess you can make a couple. Maybe it's the stress on society that the whole COVID-19 years
Mm-hmm.
created. That's a
Yeah.
possibility. Maybe we should look into that. There's another possibility that on a mass scale, a lot of people jumped into something very new that hadn't been done before. Maybe we should look into that too. You
So
know,
much
but
going
but
on,
but
dude.
no one. But what's crazy is no one's looking. And if they're not looking, then I bet you it's not that first thing.
Not enough people are looking.
Fair. You know, there are agents of Aquarius out there, and shout out to all our homies. That's a good, powerful force out there because there are people who look into this stuff. And I know we call them agents. They don't identify as agents of Aquarius. I get it. That's fine. But it's the mindset that's at work
But,
here. The
but
mindset of push back against that system and figure it out.
yeah, dude, 100%. No, the agents thing is, I mean, literally, it's a great play on words, but it's just an
Yeah,
idea. It's not,
good idea.
it's just a good focus of a word. Because you're in a certain group, you're trying to do a certain thing. You have
Yeah.
you know, well, I mean, here we are, free will, and there's not enough, but there are some people fighting back, dude. There are people fighting back. I don't
So
know.
help is on the way. That's what you're saying.
Help is, oh man, I feel like, yeah, but we might be the help.
Bro,
That's
we're
the
willing and
problem.
able, man. Might as well. I mean,
It's when you,
that's why we're actually doing this podcast because we can, shine some light on those dark little corners that people don't know to think about. And if
yes,
we help people to identify where they should direct their mind, that's really a valuable service because these things, like I said before, they're really, really big. These people who go to those giant meetings with all the billionaires and the presidents, they really do affect your day-to-day life and your health and your future. So
fuck.
let's
Well, here we are,
that's
bro.
what we doing. That's what we're doing.
Here we are,
Keep at it.
bro. Yeah, we just keep at it, dude. There's a just I mean, there was a song that just came out. There's a super hot song right now that I just the first time I heard it, I was like, whoa. And then it was like the words and the music both touched me because I loved the bluegrass and
Yeah.
Appalachian bluegrass. You know this song, right? Oliver Anthony music.
Yep. And the first time I heard the song, it was actually a compilation of people's reactions to the song, which made it super cool. It's like you see that you're scrolling on your stupid device and you're like, oh, what's that? People's reaction to a song. It's like, I'll see how they reacted. And it was really good. Matt Orfalea, shout out to that guy. I think he's the one who put together the little mix of people reacting to the song. But go ahead. So Oliver Anthony, Richmond, north of Richmond. Tell us about the song. Give me some background.
Okay, so the song's called Rich Men, north of Richmond. It starts out, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. So I could sit out here and waste my life away, drag back home and drown my troubles away. So that's the first
Stanza, great stanza. Is that
stanza.
what we do call that? A stanza, the first little chunk of lyrics.
Soul.
We're gonna call it that,
Yeah, dude.
right or wrong.
Like choruses or whatever we call it, stanza chorus.
Yeah.
So we'll call it George Costanza, bro. That's what that was.
It used to be Living Lives of Quiet Desperation? Is that how'd that Pink Floyd song go? But
I don't know that, but I'm not familiar with it this
yeah,
moment.
well, Living Lives of Quiet Desperation was how Floyd was saying it back in the 70s. Now we've got Oliver Anthony saying the same song 50 years later. Isn't that crazy?
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like people have. I think the difference is with this song isn't these starting lyrics. These are great. Okay,
Mhm.
they're so easy to get to that you're giving your fucking life away. You didn't get to see your kid's little
Mhm.
league game because you have to get a status report in, and well, it's the last day of the month. We have to do an inventory of everything, so you can't go see a special moment and your daughter dancing or something. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's about selling your soul, dude. Selling your soul for like just this bullshit world that I mean, I love nature. I love this life. I love the people, but society's become bullshit, and you're
It's
selling your
it's
soul
it's
for
it's
it.
managed poorly, really, because again, remember the big lie we got to remind ourselves of. The big narrative that's being pushed on people is that the world is the way it is. It's always been that way. It's not going to change, and it just happened all by itself. Like that one, we got to circle back on now and then to remind ourselves that that is bullshit. The way that society is today is bullshit because someone made it that way. This stuff is manufactured. It doesn't happen organically. If it happened organically, probably be doing better.
To the point where not the same style of music as this Oliver Anthony um, song, but punk rock originally was like that.
Really anti-establishment, contrarian shit, pushing back against the system big time.
Really, and saying probably a lot of the things are relating to a lot of these lyrics in their time manner,
Mm-hmm.
40 years ago or whatever it was. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a lot about punk rock, but I know that's part of it. That's another time of music. Reggae's even had a side to it where it speaks out against Babylon.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Oh,
And you know enough about punk rock. Like we were not punk rock, but in our families, in our friendship circles, like we knew that punk circle. I could move easily through that punk circle. I just didn't want to be at their shows, to be honest with you. But those were all people we grew up with, and they evolved those perspectives because they learned about the bullshit society they live in, and they pushed back through punk rock.
fuck, dude.
Give me
Well,
another
thank
lyric,
God for
bro.
music.
Sorry, go ahead.
So I've been selling my soul working all day, dude. Overtime hours for bullshit pay. So I can sit out here, waste my life away, drag back home, and drown my troubles away.
Mm-hmm.
It's a damn shame, dude. So that's the first set, and it just gets you, and you're like, okay, this is good. So then it goes, it's a damn shame what the world's gotten to for people like me and people like you. Wish I could just wake up and it not be true, but it is. Oh, it is.
Yeah, and he
Uh,
sings it well, man.
oh, it's incredible. So that's just speaking. Now you're just looking out, like you already feel inside personally, dretch. Like you're just wasting your fucking soul. There's a spirit in the soul that can go out and has so much can do, but you make pottery or whatever it is that you're supposed to do and help the world. Make these
Mm-hmm.
incredible containers. I don't know. But here you are working at the Circle K, and because we can't make pottery and compete with other places that make it for cheaper with dangerous material. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and then you look out and it's just like, what has this gotten to? And that's almost like this podcast started was it's like, fuck, dude. Like, what are we gonna do, bro? Wish I could just wake up and it's not true.
Mm-hmm.
But it is. Oh, it is. All right, let's see. Let's keep going on this. Living in the new world with an old soul. These rich men north of Richmond. Lord knows they all just want to have total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do. They don't think you know, but I know that you do. Because your dollar ain't shit and it's taxed to no end. Cause of rich men north of Richmond. Boom. Whoa.
Call it,
Now this
man.
shit, this now got like, whoa, this got real, dude. Living in a new world. But when he sings it, he goes, living in a new world, and he pauses it out. And you know he's talking about the NWO.
I hope so. I sure as
Yeah.
shit hope so. I mean, this guy thinks about the stuff we think about.
Living in a new world order with an old soul. That's the start of this stanza, this
But he
chorus.
doesn't have order in there. He says living in a new world with
He
an
says
old
living in
soul.
a new world. Yes, definitely
Yeah,
100%. But he has that, he
yeah.
literally leaves a pause in there that's almost like, whoa, it's like missing something right there. The way that he
Nice.
pauses it out.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so he actually does the pause between new and world, if I remember correctly, where there's enough time if you wanted to sing it the way you wanted to sing it, world order, it would fit. And you wouldn't be stepping on the next line with an old soul.
Oh, nice. So it stays with the melody, the music, the like the guitar.
If you listen, it's crazy. It's in there for you to sing your own lyrics over this that part of world. You can do a world order because it's a pause.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. That's good.
So living in a new world with an old soul. That's us. This is the people that are not just asleep. These are the people that will refuse against cognitive dissidence. These are the old souls. They know what
That's
tyranny
good.
feels like, dude. This is what tyranny feels like.
Hmm.
The first parts of this whole story is tyranny. That's that feeling, that gloom, giving your soul away for work. Okay, these rich men north of Richmond. There's the next line after that. With an old soul, with these rich men north of Richmond. So that he's
Yeah.
saying geographically, we're talking about Richmond, Virginia. Everybody,
Yeah, man. Hey,
and
right north of there, 100 miles,
there's no,
Washington, D.C.
and then yeah, and it's these the whole confluence of giant cities above them that are filled with rich men and
Yeah, that metropolitan corridor is packed.
giant towers just built on
Yeah.
money. Yeah,
Wall Street, baby. That's where the money's at. You
Washington
want to talk about
D.C.
rich men?
Yeah, dude, but that's the first stop from
Hmm.
Richmond. Is that like one of the most powerful places in the world, you know, one of the richest places in the world. Those actual geographical locations around and in DC are the richest places in the world because of all the lobbyists and all of the government bureaucracy
Hmm.
is all there, dude. It's
That's a
powerful.
concentration of money and power for sure.
Oh
DC, Wall
yeah.
Street, all of it.
That's where the laws are written. It's
Hmm.
not maybe not directly where the people tell them how to write the laws, but that's where the laws and the regulations and the mandates are written
Hmm.
that step on your personal sovereignty, that step on your natural, like you being a natural just person born on earth. And it's like, no, 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 you're subjugated to all these laws.
Yeah, and our guy talks about it. He says they want total control. He's not wrong. And this he's identifying what we just talked about. They say you got to know your trilateral commission. You got to know the Council on Foreign Relations. You got to know what these organizations are where these rich men come together and they plot for total control, because if you can't see it, just start looking. It's all there for you to get the answers yourself. But
Literally,
this guy is bringing it to our attention. He's like, hey, here's something for you to think about. And he does a great job of it.
like literally, dude. They just want total control. Want to know what you think, want to know what you do. Boom. This like the with the information they're getting from us being on these on phones and all of this, it's whoa. They're
Mm-hmm.
learning so much about us. They're learning so much about us. And it's and they don't think we know. That's the thing. They're like, there's a small population knows.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, bitch, we're talking about it right now. We've been talking about it. This is episode 4, I believe. We've been talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
and I have personally been talking about this since the 90s and just learning more and more. When you're like, whoa, the Federal Reserve isn't a government organization. It's like, oh no, it's a bank, dude.
It's a private bank.
It's a private
Yeah.
centralized bank that has nothing to do with our government except having control over it with money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, God damn, dude. So they want to know what you do, and they don't think you know, but I know you do. And that's where that's the light happens now in the song.
Mm-hmm.
He's bringing the light back because he's saying, I don't think they don't think you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the thing. He's speaking to people that don't have cognitive dissonance. He's also speaking to the ones that do, saying you do know. You just don't want to face it.
Great. Good.
You just don't want to face it. You just don't want to look. You don't want to know
Mm-hmm.
because it's all too much. But when when tyranny's happening, to just sit back and do nothing is you're now like, I guess, like, okay, well, they didn't fight back, so I guess they're fine with it. And it's like it wasn't presented that way, but yeah, I guess so. And that's what happens if not enough people. But he's right. People know.
They know, and it like you also said, it's hard for people to accept it because if you tell someone who hasn't thought about it before, it's like, hey, your ability to accumulate wealth and happiness, there's someone actively working against you being able to do that. There's groups of people who want to impoverish you and make your life miserable. And they're doing it to you on purpose. And guess what? It's working. That's a lot for someone to have to accept if it's a new idea. But you have to, though, because it's happening. It's happening in slow motion. It's been happening for 100 years. And it's a real thing. And again, our guy Oliver Anthony, thank you for getting people to think about it. And he's right; they know. He says, "I think you do." What else you got, or what are you thinking about these lyrics?
I mean, I'm gonna just look at the next one, like, cause your dollar ain't shit and it's taxing no end. Now it's starting to get personal.
Oh yeah,
Now he's like defining. He's not just singing these random lyrics. This is very like your dollar's never been worth less.
mm-hmm.
Which that didn't have to be the system. You could have had a system where your dollar's worth way more.
Do you know the number of how much the dollar's degraded since 1913 when the Federal Reserve became an institution?
Hit
Do you
me.
know the number?
Hit me. I have no idea.
99% reduction in spending power. 99%. You could have bought what you could have bought for $1 back then. You'd have to spend $100 today. Now, what costs $100? Tank of gas if you got a big truck. What else costs $100? I don't know, a
A
set of
pair of
plates,
a pair of decent shoes.
pair of decent shoes, right?
Like
You probably
decent boots, you're going way over 100.
all right. So here, let's play the game. Maybe I'm full of shit. What I'm gonna do is do a quick search for this.
You do that and I got you, bro.
Yeah. Okay.
So because your dollar ain't shit. We live in a system that 100%, guys, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. 100%, where inflation's out of control, which makes your dollar worth less. That's what that's all about. Inflation makes your dollar worth less. They've taken the dollar and now they've just borrowed so much of it that we're caught in a scheme where they just print more and more of it. Also, on top of the dollar just not being
Mm-hmm.
worth as much, this flooding of the market with dollars also makes it not lose power. Also, on top of that, and there's more, that dollar lost power when they took it and they took the gold away from it. At one point
Yeah,
in time,
Nixon,
there was
1971.
yeah, at one point in time, there was not a centralized bank loaning us money. I mean, for a long time, banks have been loaning us money, and that's
Mm-hmm.
when it started getting more and more evil. But the government could have controlled all this on its own. It lets these predatory people in that take over and then make money on money.
Mm-hmm.
Did you
All
find
right.
anything?
Yeah, I just bought a pair of shoes. Had a wedding to go to. Bought a nice pair of shoes, not Gucci's or Italian leather. They're wool shoes, some kind of hip popular brand. It was $125 about for a pair of shoes, a pair of decent shoes, and not something that's gonna
Really?
rock the fashion world, but it was $125, and that's not out of the ordinary. Back in 1913, $2-3. So is that a 99% decrease in the spending power of a dollar? No. But what could have cost me $3 cost me 120. But that's the point I brought up. That's the point I brought up. Your dollar ain't worth shit. The whole reason I say this is because your dollar isn't worth shit. It used to have way more buying power, but because this market, our money market, our dollars spending power isn't that didn't happen by accident. That dollar was debased by a plan, and it's been played out again and again, decade after decade. And it's always a boom bust cycle. The boom bust cycle, when it all washes out, poor and middle class people are worse off, and the people with money and investment power are better off. They've been getting more while we get less, and it's not an accident. It's not an accident. So yeah, your dollar ain't worth shit.
And it's taxed to no end.
Ooh-wee.
Next part, it's because your dollar ain't shit and it's taxed to no end. Boom.
Mm-hmm.
It's taxed to no end. It's like, what are these fucking tax? Like, what? We're paying all this money. They're just giving money and do it. It's like, just, there's no oversight.
No, you give 20% of your paycheck away to taxes, but then if you own a piece of property, you got to pay taxes. If you own a vehicle, you're paying registration. That's a tax. There's people who argue pretty convincingly that lottery is a tax on poor people because you're buying into a long shot dream of 1 in a billion chance to win, but you're still putting money every week into it. There's just one tax after another.
Dude, that's the crazy part, is that you're paying taxes. Like, you make money and then you pay a certain amount of taxes on the money you make. But then you go out with that money and then you're like, buy gas, and then that has extra taxes.
Yeah.
If you go buy cookies in the gas lamp district in San Diego, they have a gas lamp tax. If you walk into one of those convenience, like one of those stores down there, you're paying an extra tax. It's like 13% or something like that. You're like, what? Just because
on top of sales tax.
On top of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So money you've already paid taxes on, now you're paying taxes again. And you're going to start paying it in gasoline, in tobacco, and alcohol, in there's probably ammunition taxes. There's food at different levels is taxed. If somebody makes it for you, it's taxed. And then those people take that tax money and then they have to pay taxes on it.
All right, so our boy Julian Assange, free him. Julian Assange was famous for a lot of things, but one of them was saying the purpose of government is to take tax money and transfer it to industry. And that's industry they're in bed with. So all this tax money is coming in, and what happens to the money? Does it go to support our society, rebuild our bridges, get you Medicare for all? Does it get you a $20 living wage? Does it get you any of that shit? Does it get you free college? It doesn't get you any of that. Doesn't get you any of it. But it really makes certain industries flooded with money. Banking gets bailed out constantly. And not a lot of people know this, but back in 2008, when they bailed out the banks the first time, as they wrote those laws that says, hey, this industry is too big to fail, we're going to bail them out with public money because their business model failed. They wrote in that they would do it without informing the public at any other time afterwards. They just continued to do it. They've been doing it since 2008, bailing out these banks with giant cash infusions. They call it quantitative easing and things like that. But all they're doing is taking American tax money and giving it to the banking industry so that they are flooded with money. Our money.
Wow.
Dollar ain't shit and it's taxed to no end.
Because of rich men north of Richmond.
The very same bankers.
This is the craziest part of it, He says that like a riddle, right? And it's funny because our different departments that we have, right? We have different departments that we pay for. We have the Defense Department, for instance, the Department of Defense.
Always defending us. They're so busy defending us.
But that was
all over the world. They defend us, especially in poor brown countries.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. But that was the Department of War. They just literally changed the name. They just went, no, we'll change it to this now. So that's literally what in your mind so every time you hear Department of Defense, that's Department of War. Think of the DOW, dude. That's what it really is when you hear that. So would you always want us doing the things we're doing if it's called the Department of War? No, they changed the name of it, and then they just brought war all over the world. We have bases in like over 100 countries.
We have 800 bases that are acknowledged around the world, which is insane because, countries like Russia and China, I don't know, they got half dozen or less. I don't really know how many they have, but I do know they don't have forward military bases like we do. Like there's one in
Yeah.
Syria. Russia's got a base in Syria, but I don't know of any other bases in other countries that they have.
Oh, we won't allow it.
No, because we already have a base in those countries. I mean, we're what you said, 100 different countries, 800 bases. It's insane. Department of War is
Department of War,
thriving.
Department of Justice, the DOJ. It's the Department of Injustice.
Yeah,
It's a
travesty of justice.
it's a weaponized arm of government that's like holding people political prisoner and attacking
Mm-hmm.
people for political means that has greater implications because who controls the politics can control the world because we are
Yeah.
such a big player, dude. We've spent so much money on military in the last 50 years, and I'm down with them. I love people that our military people that are in the military.
Mm-hmm.
They're the heart and blood, right? Of what can be done and peacefully things can be done because war should be just very much a last resort. And think if we took what we spend outward, if we spent inward for 10 years, and we just give those places like, here's a building, you can have the building, and then you clean up and you withdraw everything and you clean all the stuff and you get everything out, you leave it
Mm-hmm.
clean, you say sorry, we were acting in a Cold War mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and then we've become the colonists, and we could just think of all the money that we already spent. What if you spent it right here in this country? What you could do for this country in like amazing ways. Technologies failed us because things have just cost more. Technology is used in all these ways where it could be used to like make better food that's more nutritious, but then that just gets taken out of they don't want that. They don't want you,
Mm-hmm.
Chris, with good nutrition and healthy, optimized body. They do not want that.
No, though, and some people harp on others for saying that word they. They don't want you to have healthy food. Well, we already told you who they is. Go confirm it for yourself. See who goes to the Bilderberger meetings.
But even more than that, they is the military industrial complex,
That's definitely,
the
yeah.
medical industrial complex, the banking industrial complex, these in huge industrial, like where it's only a couple country or companies, and then those
Mm-hmm.
companies all own each other anyway. So it's all like becomes one conglomerate in so many ways. They're controlling the way the markets work. They control shouldn't have the inflation we have. It's so many predators.
One scandal after another reveals it too. LIBOR scandal and all these like financial crimes that are committed all the time. I mean, it happens constantly.
Constantly it happens because of the rich men north of Richmond.
You got another lyric for me?
Oh, yeah, I do, man. We do. It was getting good. It's about to get freaky. I wish politicians would look out for minors and not just minors on an island somewhere.
Oh, burn.
I'm not doing him any justice, but I'm trying to at least say it in the way he does it. I'm realizing. I wish politicians would look out for minors. Okay. What's that all about?
Yeah, we know that's the guy with the light on his helmet. He's going in the ground to dig up coal.
Oh, comedy. Um, okay, yeah. Oh God. Do you just want to go to the next part of the verse then? Not minors on an island somewhere. So he
Oh
is
yeah, the drop in
literally,
Epstein is awesome. It's like, yeah,
whoa. He's talking about Jeffrey Epstein and Epstein, Little St. James Island.
yeah.
We all know with Ghislaine Maxwell, the whole story, how we still don't know the list. They still like you only leak parts out, but it's never like official. And who knows what that is.
Yeah,
And
what is it? The first time ever that someone went to jail for trafficking, but there were no people on the other side. Like they didn't like, hey, Ghislaine Maxwell, you're going to jail because you trafficked that kid. Well, who did I traffic the kid to? For the first time ever, we're just not going to talk about that. Sorry. I'm not going to
That's
talk about the client list.
that's salacious, Matthew.
Oh, yes,
Matthew.
right.
Listen,
Yeah.
Matthew.
Go
Guys, his
ahead and
name's not
remind
Matty,
people
it's Matthew.
why remind them why you use that word salacious. Can you remind people why you use that?
Because in the just about the same time, they're like they're not advertising. Yeah, advertising, promoting, putting the end Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial out, which was like really like yuck, you know? It's all yuck. But it was like this is like not really public. What? This isn't really a concern of the
Doesn't mean
public.
anything to
Yeah,
people. It shouldn't. It doesn't affect their life.
it's weird. And then at the same time, though, they wouldn't release the Ghislaine trial, wouldn't let that be seen or televised because it was it was too salacious.
As the judge said,
Too salacious, dude. Like, what the
no
fudge?
cameras in that courtroom because the information is too salacious. But so
I
what do you
think
think was salacious that she was referring to, that judge?
I think what she was referring to was that I don't see, we don't always get that they changed the meaning of words and they meant dangerous.
Oh yeah, right. It's not salacious, it's dangerous.
So
No, I
salacious
mean,
also must mean dangerous, dude. It'd be a synonym for dangerous, and that's why that she used that.
people were recorded fucking kids in a blackmail scheme, right? That's the easiest way of summing up Epstein Island.
People, yeah, human trafficking, sex trafficking of minors and adults in a blackmail scheme from
Yeah.
the intelligence and by the intelligence agencies of the world. 3 of them,
Yeah.
specifically MI6, CIA, and
Mossad.
Mossad.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. So this is what this line, and then it goes back to because there was just a giant. I want to say giant. Just not, there was a lawsuit for I believe $190 million paid out by J.P. Morgan to some victims of this Epstein Island. Like the banks paid. The banks and like they paid $190
No shit.
million. Yeah, dude.
Wow.
So that's those also, but that goes back to the Richmond, north of Richmond.
Yeah. Sign your
And this is all
NDA.
tied together now. Now, all these people right here, he's talking about. It's all that's why their dollar ain't shit, and that's why it's taxed to no end. It's because of the politicians and the bureaucrats and the lobbyists, and these people will even do these things we just said. They will be part of that because people do know who've been involved, who's been outwardly named, just to start it out. That's just the way it goes.
Mm-hmm.
There's presidents, ex-presidents that have been out there. We won't even name them here. We've talked about them, I think, in different facets here already. There's those, they've been there.
Yeah. Heads of banking cartels.
I didn't do it. And then there is no Department of Justice. It's Department of Injustice because of things like this. They hold nobody accountable. But then the little man, you're going to tax him to no end. And then he's going to have to fucking drink himself down. And then he's going to, fucking life's coming apart, dude, because of these Richmond, north of Richmond. This whole fucking thing pulls together, and now they're fucking with kids. What the fuck?
It is pulled together. Like this stuff is all tied together. The intelligence higher ups, the government higher ups, the corporate higher ups. You could find the annual like guest list of these organizations, like who showed up at Bilderberger last year, who showed up at the Trilateral Commission. The Trilateral Commission is not some weird shady organization.
Bohemian Grove.
Bohemian Grove. You could go on Wikipedia and see a list of attendees.
These are the people that control the policies. These are the men, the rich men north of Richmond. Okay. And they're not just there, but this is the heart of it in America. And then it goes up from there with New York, Boston, Philly. You have all these powerhouses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it goes down and then it spreads out. But initially, it's just that group right there. It's become corrupt. It's not what it was intended to be. They're stepping on your constitutional rights. They're stepping on your fucking, your being just a divine human being.
Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness.
Yeah, dude. It just
they
fires
don't want
me
you
up.
to have it.
It's like it's already
They
bad.
don't want you to have it.
It's already bad. It's like they're already fucking taxing us. They're already doing all this shit. They're fucking, and now it's kids. Fuck, man. You'll do anything for power to corrupt people.
Is it just now though, because the kid scandals go way back?
But
The
it's a
kid
song
scandals go way, way
builds.
back.
Yeah, but this song builds, dude. It's like this
Yeah.
song's building me up where it fires me up, and then it's like now this part, and I know it's coming. I know the song,
I follow you now.
but
Yeah.
it's like now it's like can't let it go. I'm specifically we're sitting here talking about the lyrics of this thing. It
Mhm.
builds, bro. All right, so that's just like off the charts, but we all know this is no good. Epstein's Island and what it is, dude. We all know,
Mhm.
and then we barely do really fully know. Okay, so we'll go to the next verse, Matt.
Hit me.
Lord, we got folks in the streets ain't got nothing to eat, and the obese milk and welfare.
The parts of the song for a bit were controversial for me. I wasn't sure how I felt about it, but that particular line, it's like, man, you show someone in Yemen a poor person here, or India, show them a poor person here, and they're obese, it would blow their mind. Like, no, what? You can't call a person poor. They have so much to eat that they're overweight. Like, just the very concept to like, I could only imagine because I haven't been to Yemen, but I can only imagine in a war-torn country like that where people are literally starving to death, that if they saw what we call a poor person here and they're obese, it would make their head spin. They wouldn't understand what the fuck we're talking about.
But there's a difference.
Talk to me.
Poor is not poor, dude. Poor there and poor here are just different types of poor. They're different
Mhm.
societies. In
Mhm.
this one, those poor are preyed upon by the giant corporations, and they're obese not because they have so much food to eat. It's because of the food they get to eat because they live in fucking uh, food deserts.
Yeah.
You live in a giant high complex, and then there's just a local market or something right there that you can then use that welfare money for. And there's not a lot of fucking options. And what are you going to choose? Yeah,
Mhm.
something maybe that's savory and delicious, but filled with tons of chemicals,
Oh
and it's
no,
not
bro. When
good
I
for
was
you.
broke, I bought the cheapest food.
Yeah, because that's all you can afford.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've both been there. Jumbo Jack City, bro. Shout out fucking Jack in the Box and
Yeah.
the 619, bro. Dollar Jumbo Yaks. All right. We've
Yeah,
been
man.
there.
Yeah, man.
And this is the thing though. I don't think he's blaming people here, but it's gonna because it's gonna build because we've already talked. So Lord, we got folks in the street ain't got nothing to eat. And then you're fucking and then the obese are milking welfare. It's like nothing's getting better. These people are
Mhm.
just gonna fire and fall, they're in a spiral that's socially being done and manipulated by those Richmond, north of Richmond.
Mhm. And
By the,
that's a tough system too, welfare, because if you take the money and you can't have an income. But then if you go get a job, you're going to get entry level wages and you'll have to work to make slightly more than you did on welfare, slightly more. But when you're on welfare, you didn't do anything. So there's many people who choose to not get off welfare because they don't want to have to put in the hours for the bullshit pay, for lack of a better way of putting it. Welfare is a deceptively dark system.
yeah, yeah.
Necessary, I'll call it necessary, but it's got a dark side for sure.
It's a completely dark system. And it's all being done as a means of like, oh, this is good for we're really trying to help out the poor. And it's like, no, you're preying on the poor. I call
Mm-hmm.
bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
I call 100% bullshit on it. They're preying on the poor, and they're poisoning them. And then
Mm-hmm.
they're putting them on social healthcare systems that then feed the healthcare monster, the medical industrial complex that we just spoke of. And it becomes this cycle that just keeps going. And
Right.
fuck, dude.
Because the medical industry doesn't heal people. It puts them on medicine for life.
Yeah.
It keeps them sick for life so that they're good customers. And I know that a lot of people will have a hard time understanding their healthcare system in that perspective. But if you look at it long enough, you'll understand. You'll get it.
Lord, we got folks in the street, man. That's just sad there. It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a large part of what I see when I'm in like downtown San Diego, is those folks in the street. There's so much mental illness that I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing that's like, whoa. It's like everything's happy go lucky, and then it takes one person with like some severe mental illness, and then everyone's on like orange alert, like, whoa. Like this
Yeah.
screaming and yelling, and you don't know what's going on, and they're in some crazy mind circle place, plane of hell, or something's going on. it's fucked, dude. There's people in the streets. It's so fucking sad.
Yeah.
But
With
I,
mental health issues. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, but I am also like, you got to be defensive and be protective. It's like I'm not an, I don't know what to do. It's this
Well, I
is
don't want to
crazy.
give someone a hug who's having a mental health crisis. I mean, it's
Yeah, covered in
like you're having a
feces.
psychotic episode, you're covered in feces, and you're fucking
Yeah,
swinging at
your
the
arms
air. I'm not.
around. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm on guard too.
it's nervous, and I feel for these people, and who knows how much of them maybe they're part of some type of medical experimentation or something like that. They've dedicated, they science got a hold. Who fucking knows, dude? These people, I've seen it. It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
And that was all done in 1980s. They all of a sudden they just closed and released all these mentally ill people that went out and begot more mentally ill people.
Yeah,
Like
the
it's
Reagan
only spread.
administration cut funding for the mental hospitals that house people on taxpayers' dime or something like that.
We have money to go fight a propaganda war and a war against one of our biggest enemies in the world and really put threat at their doorstep. And we don't have money for fucking to help the mentally ill, the people that can't fucking help themselves here.
Yeah, we probably could have solved homelessness 5 times over with the money we sent to Ukraine.
Fuck you to fucking Richmond of North, fucking
Mm-hmm.
Richmond, dude. Fuck you.
Every time you see that homeless person, you can remember that because that's a great message. Fuck them.
We can't take care of the people that are so, they
We
cannot
can't
take
get
care
it.
of themselves.
Yeah, we can't get an aid package to Maui without giving Ukraine another 24 billion or something insane like that. They've tied the aid package to Maui. For it to go through, we got to give Ukraine another 20 some $billion. And anyone who steps forward in Congress and says, I don't think we should give that money to Ukraine, they're going to get labeled as someone who hates Hawaii. So, of course, yeah, they'll get money to Hawaii super late and super inefficient, but they're also going to give that money to Ukraine like that. It's always like that. Like when they want to give money to Ukraine, boom, it's instantaneous. And they literally wrote into the law, we're not going to track where the money goes because it's going to slow the process down. And then what happens? Arms end up in Africa, in Sweden. You hear about stories like drug cartels have fucking javelin missiles because they wrote into the bill that we wouldn't track it. But they sure could come up with that money quick.
But not
Real quick.
for Maui. And God bless you people. And fucking stay strong, brothers and sisters, and fucking just fight. Those islands are filled with agents, bro. They're filled with fucking. I said agents. I said agents, by the way. I mumbled there. I said agents. I did not say Asians. I said agents.
Well, there's plenty of Asians there too.
I know, but it wouldn't
great.
sound.
Hawaii is close to Asia.
That's not what I said, though.
Yeah,
like,
but I got you. It's full of agents. It's full of agents of Aquarius. The Kahunas are alive and well. Yeah, stay strong and all the love to them.
Wow,
but don't expect the government to be in a rush to help out. And sure shit, they're not going to help people living on the streets. We have
on the street and got nothing to eat, but they're obese somehow.
Figure that. Yeah, I mean, you eat poison, and
that's
not going to do you well.
Oh my god, dude! This is like he's painting a picture, and it's dreary. I'm going to tell you that because what he's doing is painting a picture of our current world without being polite.
Mm-hmm.
He's being musical, which kind of comes off a little polite, and the danger of what he's saying. So then the next line after that is, well, in the next chorus, I'm sorry. Well, God, if you're 5'3" and you're 300 pounds, taxes ought not to pay for bag of fudge rounds. I laugh because me and Matt had a discussion about this earlier. That's the reason I'm laughing. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. So we kind of covered the 5'3", 300 pounds a little bit already because of the line before where it said and the obese milk and welfare.
Yeah,
like they're not empowering anybody. They're creating this system that's just eating itself. There's systemic fucking. Oh, it's so toxic.
Well, we did talk about this earlier, and we did butt heads a little bit over that bit about the chocolate rounds. What I didn't realize is go back not too far, I don't know, a couple of decades, and you had to buy very specific foods. You had to buy things like how was it, like milk and cheese, and like you had to
EBT
buy.
20 years ago. We'll go right from now.
Hmm.
20 years ago, even
Hmm.
like 22 years ago. When EBT, you had these coupons that would get you food, and
Yeah.
you could take them to stores, grocery stores only. Nobody
Hmm.
else really took them, more or less. And then you could get specifically what it said on there, and it'd be like, and there's like the old government cheese, but it'd be like you could get like the whatever type of cheese they had in this size to this size in this
Right.
style, and then they'd have like 6 styles you could get. And then there would be the milk, and then the same thing with the milk. You couldn't get fucking chocolate milk. It had to be 2% or whole milk or
Yeah.
milk, something like that. Okay. There was no chocolate. You couldn't get chocolate milk or anything like that.
So it was directing you towards more wholesome food compared to what's actually out there.
Yeah. I mean, there's questions to that. I mean, even how good some of those products are, possibly. But yeah, they're at least we're directing you, not giving you, allowing you to take these poor choices, because people have food addictions, and then if they're depressed because they're poor, they're gonna, that food addiction may flare, it may like activate, and then they're gonna make poor choices with their food and their diet, and then that's gonna create problems in health for them. And then it's just like this whole system happened because they weren't really given, because they're not being given options for good, like good healthy choices, or at least stuff
Yeah.
that's not gonna put you in a bigger state. Now you could still take that milk and that cheese and then make nachos and do all. You mean you can make good or bad with all of it, and not that chocolate milk's bad, but that's what he's saying. You can go literally now and get fudge rounds. Like you can get bags of fudge rounds instead of broccoli.
Right. Now here's the thing that was a little hot earlier. I was of the mindset of like, hey, if someone wants to spend their money on chocolate, I'm not going to tell them not to. But what I didn't realize is that the decision to open up what you could purchase with EBT was made by people who had no one's interest in mind. They want that decision was made by a lobbyist, and it wasn't with citizens' health in mind. It was made by a lobbyist. It was made to, ultimately open up bigger, or, make a bigger bottom line for some corporate interest that paid that lobbyist, that paid those politicians. It wasn't a decision to give people more freedom. How about that? When I say I don't want to tell someone they can't eat chocolate, that's a perspective of, I believe in radical freedom. Do what you want to do as long as you don't hurt people or steal shit. But the decision to open up that food to include chocolate rounds, it was not made for someone's benefit or freedom. It was made because it's just dark and nefarious shit. But that person, if they continue to have that bad diet, they're going to be pulled into the medical system. And the medical system doesn't help you. It doesn't heal you. It keeps you alive and keeps you sick.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. That's why we didn't like, we got like heated and talking, because it was such a like, we weren't on opposing sides. It was just
Mm-hmm.
you didn't understand. Like, I think there was a healthier system in place. You can help people and give them food for free. Be like,
Yeah,
you don't have to.
I see it now.
It's like it's hard for me to even say which word. Like, it's hard to express myself, because everybody should have like. Here's the problem. Yeah, it just like everybody should be able to enjoy chocolate if they want. That should
Mm-hmm.
be like, yeah. It's not that. It's but they don't live in places where they can even have a lot of good options sometimes. Like they just go to the
People in
local
food deserts.
deli,
Yeah.
yeah, and they just fucking get what's there, and they're just trying to eat, and they're just trying to survive. I've been there with you. I've been there with you, meaning not even you, them, or
Yeah.
whoever. I've been there with you. But this is not like being done in personal freedom. That's why it's such a hard thing to talk about, because I agree with personal freedoms.
Yeah, no, this is the part of the song I disagreed
It's
with. Like,
not
don't harp
free.
on that person
Yeah.
for what they're doing. Don't,
Yeah.
don't criticize the poor person for getting a little joy out of chocolate. But that's not the deeper issue. Like, that's not the deeper issue.
They are getting some enjoyment out of that, right? So we won't harp on that. The problem is
Yeah.
those people, and he's not just saying somebody eats one fudge round or somebody got a bag of fudge rounds, but you're in really good physical health. He's saying the people that are now going to be, oh God, I'm glad, like the people that are going to be the cattle in that system. And that's not a fat joke. I'm not that, I didn't want to say it at first, but no, the cattle, because that's a thing. They're just going to become these parts of the system that's going to now abuse your body
Mm-hmm.
and not help you in any way except to just use you and abuse you and then overcharge for crazy things and then possibly put you on drugs for the rest of your life that'll keep your insulin levels at a certain level so you don't die.
Yeah,
That's
man, they'll keep you sick and poor and powerless because that's what they're doing. That, you know, what was the lyric in the song? They want total control.
they want total fucking control. That's how
Don't,
you become a slave, is like a slave to the medical system.
yeah,
You know, we're paying taxes. We're all like slight slaves to the fucking military industrial complex for even funding this fucking craziness. And not
yeah,
saying no, no, we have people in the streets. They ain't got nothing to eat.
yeah. Don't sleep at this wheel, man. This is his lyric is spot on. They want total control. We already talked about who they are, and they quite literally do. And to get that total control, you're going to be poor, you're going to be sick, you're going to be distressed and distraught and full of diseases and mental anxieties and all kinds of shit. And they do it on purpose. It's a manufactured system.
Yeah. And it's we got it. It's up to us individuals, guys. It's us. You literally just start. If it's in a meditation, if it's in a kind action, it starts with each one of us. We can't do it as a group because we can't all link up until we all just start doing it. And then if we can get the net rolling of good vibrations, we can get the Richmond, north of Richmond, to be different people, dude. We can
Mm-hmm.
we need to change. The system needs to be taken apart, dismantled,
Mm-hmm.
and changed to get rid of the tyranny that's starting to happen and has happened,
Mm-hmm.
and the crimes against humanity that are happening and have happened. And then we just kind of go on, bro. We just kind of go on.
Well, that was another powerful lyric. Is there more to the song, or is it just repeating of what we've heard already?
And then we kind of just, barely got in the 300-pound fund rounds. Young men are putting themselves 6 feet in the ground. That was part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Just people are getting so sick they die, but they come part of a system. They've lost their soul, you know, and then 6 feet in the ground because all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's basically that's the end of it. There's choruses repeated at different times that really build this thing up. I've been selling my soul, working all day. That's like a big thing keeps going back to. But that was the lyrics, man, because all this damn country does is keep on kicking them down. We talked about that earlier. We just give money and aid all over the world. We have military bases all over the fucking world. And here we are in this country with completely just an open door, letting who knows who fucking who, and it's a damn fucking shame.
Mm-hmm. It is mismanaged to a crazy extent.
So that's the song. Fucking shout out to Oliver Anthony Music for making the song. Shout out to everybody that supported him or supports him in any type of positive and non-predatory way. Like,
Mm-hmm.
spread his fucking message, this guy did, because he just created a song of generations that you never know can have an impact to make people change.
Mm.
Make people go, oh man, fuck, he gets it.
Yeah, man, that seed thought that grows into something bigger. That's good.
Yeah. I've listened to some other of his songs. They're all about like the fight, fighting for trying to not drink, talks about smoking a bowl, like just sitting there and sharing that bowl. And there's hope, man. We just gotta, I think the reason this song just blew up is not because of how it's, it's a dark, it has a dark message, not dark message. It talks about a dark predatory society
Mm-hmm.
that's preyed on its citizens. That's what it's talking about, which is dark. But he's not being dark about it, and he's just calling it out, and it's really beautiful, and it's an amazing song, and I fucking love it, dude. I've literally cried to it. I get goosebumps when I hear it. I'll listen to it over and over on repeat, because it just really just talks to me. It's like, all right, this is a good anthem, dude. This is a good new call. Like, he's bringing it all up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how he doesn't talk about Tower fucking 7 in it. I have no idea. Maybe we ought
Hey,
to look at the.
maybe we'll get a Building 7 moment out of this guy.
Oh, I think we did. I think we did. I think people that are listening to the song, it's Building 7 moment.
Hey, there you go. Nice way to wrap that up.
Because he's
That
talking about Epstein
absolutely.
Island.
Yeah,
That's some Building 7 shit, dude.
that is some Building 7 shit. Worth talking about another time, but goddamn right, we'll come back to it. This one, this certainly didn't get promoted by people in power. The fact that a lot of people know about this song, that happened organically. That wasn't manufactured.
Okay. And addendum to this whole thing,
Hit me.
he hasn't taken the money.
Mm-hmm.
He's made some
I
money.
heard that. I heard he turned
He's
it down,
making
the
money,
big
but
payout.
yeah, $8 million contracts, all that. He went out and put his own statement out. So that everybody knows
Mm-hmm.
he's like, I don't want $8 million contract. I don't want buses. I don't want tour trucks,
Mm-hmm.
15 truck convoy going around the country playing stages. Like, I don't want that. I just want to go back to my house and my dog
Yeah.
where I
I
live.
hope he can make a living as a musician.
It's the rest of his life is now he can make money as a musician, man.
Perfect.
Because
Yeah,
whatever he was
that's where
making
it's
as a
at.
salesman, he can sell merch, he can go out and play gigs and do it when he wants at his leisure and make enough money that he can live on that piece of land and buy more around it if he wants to have more land. And that's the success story of this thing. That's the Agents of Aquarius moment. This is the wake up, dude. The wake up is he's being embraced. There's haters listen to it possibly,
Mm-hmm.
but hey,
Yeah.
whatever. They still had to hear it. They heard
Yeah,
it.
it's weird. The pushback against this song is the same old tropes as before. It's like, oh, it's a white nationalist song.
Mhm.
And the people who are pushing back with that crap uh are literally the people he's singing about. It's like the machine arm of those rich men north of Richmond and their media companies that they own. That's how they choose to push back against this guy. It's like, oh wait, you said that before already about other shit that wasn't white supremacy. It's like he's an extreme right winger. Like these are the arguments they make. It's like, no, this guy is just representing working people. He called it out for what it is. He did it really well, and the message resonates with people.
Yeah, well,
So
the
no
haters,
credit,
yeah, but
no
the
credit to
haters
them.
just scream. They're just yelling words at him. Oh, he's extreme. This is extreme right wing, but
Mm-hmm.
there's the things we're saying they would think are extreme right wing. Like words don't have the same meaning, and the problem is words have so much fucking power and meaning. And if you
Mm-hmm.
start disabling the words, you start disabling some powers, and you start creating other powers. And
Nice.
that's
Yeah.
where we're
Yeah.
at. Like that, they would think the same thing about us, probably, dude. And we're the first thing from it. And you were like, "What?" And then you're the thing. You're like, "Yeah, they probably would." Actually, I probably
Yeah.
get put in that class, and they have no idea who I am. Or whoa,
God damn. Like
fucking just yeah.
always identified as a lefty. Except I have a hard time with it now because left is pro-war, pro-censorship, pro-FBI, pro-CIA. They
Department of
don't
Injustice.
like the values that are supposed to represent what I thought was the left. They changed them. Like they
Mhm.
changed everything. All these definitions are getting changed now. Like to be a lefty now is to be pro-war and pro-censorship. That's the exact opposite of what the left
Yeah,
was that I used to identify with.
they're pro-war because they backed the Defense Department, which we both know was the War Department.
Yeah.
So and then the DOJ is protected. It's like injustice. It's like whoa, but here it is. Oliver Anthony music.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Anthony puts this song out, and he then stands in the face of it. He stands in the face of the big check where they could now capture and do everything and change it all around and use this as a fucking propaganda song for a certain group or this or that. And he said no. And he's going to get
Nice
some
stand.
pay, and he's going to get paid for the rest of the life to play music if he wants to, and he can do whatever he chooses. Because this is a man that wrote some art and put some art into the world. This is a this is a huge moment. It's a huge moment in changing of consciousness. This song is part of the changing of the consciousness to see how it is accepted and not propagandized by a fucking project, Monarch, whatever, where they've used the music industry to boost up things.
I forget what they call that one, but yeah,
This is organic. And boom,
yeah, this is
here,
good.
let's fucking go. Let's
Let it
go,
rip.
Brandon. Oh man. Well, dude, fucking take care, everybody in fucking Hawaii and Maui. Keep those boatloads of stuff coming in privately. Fuck them. Do your thing. Fuck the government on that bullshit. Support your
Yeah,
people.
fuck the
Don't
government.
stop. Yeah, don't stop, dude. And that's everywhere. That's in Palestine, East Palestine, Ohio. Support each other. Okay. Chicago, support each other. And fucking Portland, support each other. New York City, everybody start supporting each other, dude. We got to stop these rich men north of Richmond.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Agent Matty D signing off.
I'm out, dude.